Hello. There we go. And so an attempt has been made. I'm not sure how long I can last in this setup, but 30 minutes should be fine. I I I hope. Oh boy, here I am watching the stability of the stream. Come on, do not drown. You're doing great. Oh my god. No, the internet is not fixed, Beth. I'm on my other phone. I'm on another mobile ISP, which isn't capped to the whole 10 gigabytes a day thing. So, I cannot do a super long stream today, but I target at least 1 hour. Hopefully. Hopefully. Hello, Vesper. Fluffy. Dip. Alligor. Fix internet, not buy more phones, yes. A stopgap measure. I'm not sure if the quality is still as good as it should be. Uh, I, here's the trying, right? I'm so gonna eat a lot of fish after this. Ugh. Anyway, hello everyone. What's new? Me? Well, I'm really bummed because I wasn't able to stream yesterday. There goes the schedule. I don't have internet. I can't watch videos. I can't do anything bandwidth heavy. Luckily, I can still play. I was playing some Terraria with Vesper yesterday. We have hit this one out to prevent any potential issues. Probably, so you can continue on your schoolwork while I go and meander chat online. Ugh, ugh. I think I even have the camera angle set properly. Here, there. Been a while since I've been here. If Vesper isn't gonna come, I can set my camera angles properly. Put this here. A little container crate. Put that here and zoom in. Go low. Hello. Would it be morning or the night for you? Technically the morning. It's 1:08 a.m. Let's put that there. Pin 3 is behavior. Smooth it. Look at me out the room. Hi. Maybe we have it here. On the other side. Where you can read. Read the thing. Spooky. Anyway, where were we? I think the lights are right. It's spectacularly dark. Maybe zoom out a bit. Better coverage. Your avatar is always so cool to look at. I love the expressiveness. Thanks, I'm glad you do. Wait. There we go, properly dramatic. So when I start doing like the serious stuff. And then we have this. I hope my internet gets fixed tomorrow. I got a message yesterday in which they say the technicians are gonna go have a visit and a repair on site October 22nd, which is in, well, later. By later, I mean later today, probably 12, 14, 15 hours from now, because they told me to expect them on or before 5 p.m. I really hope it's a simple, oh right, here I am, plugging something from the box, unplugging, beep 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 boop boop boop, and your internet is fixed. I'm not sure if it's gonna work out that way, but here's to being optimistic. Hi, Axel. Rengar. Ivan. Lars Wolf is off the learn. Good thing they gave you a time so you're not napped. That's the thing, Beth. On or before 5 p.m. It's usually when I'm asleep. So I hope it's not a troublesome visit, which will take more than an hour. So I can go hop back under the sheets. And my sleep schedule is not ruined, yes. Internet issues, Chad. It happens. It happens so often. Did you drive per? Oh, it wasn't. It's surprisingly my fiber line was a-okay. Good evening, Pascal. You know, I didn't even dare load a heavy world. I loaded like this 40 MB one that I'm at right now. I'm tempted to be in the optimized box, just so it's like as bandwidth light as possible. But who wants to be in a bland empty space, right? If I swap this, there we go. Nope. Evening. So does chasing dreams also involve chasing your tail? What? No. Chasing working internet is one of them. I can't believe I slept with anxiety earlier. I was like, "God, this is day 2 not having net. What if it never comes back? I never thought of plan B. So now I am seriously considering having a backup ISP. The speed doesn't have to be fast, just enough so I can keep streams going. That's like roughly $30 a month, maybe, but that's gonna lock me in for 2 years. What if I never use it? It's such a waste of money. Let's see how my phone thing works today. If it works spectacularly, then great. I don't need it. I can just use this as a backup. But alas, we work with what we have. Magpatulog ka. I mean, good evening or morning. Why, hi there, Molly. It's 1 a.m. What are you doing this late into the night? Or are you perchance a night owl like I am? Internet problems. Could be for any smart device at your place. Also good for cybersecurity. Cybersecurity? What the heck are gonna take away from me? I have barely anything. No AC here, so it's kind of hot. There we go. At night now. Thought you were taking it literally. Now I had to do a bit of work, but sleep time now. Well, good night and sweet dreams, Molly. I hope you grow up 1 centimeter taller when you awake. Greetings, Kipagoos. Hello, Holy Fire. Hey, do you want to grow shorter or do you gonna grow taller? Take your pick, Molly. Those go increase vertically. Ooh. Vesper says, chasing working internet and ambitions. If I chased my dreams, I'd be chasing after the group I was running with in my apocalypse. You had a apocalyptic dream. I wonder what that could be. Hi, Mystic. Greetings. What's new? One of the Quest Pros I was looking at dropped 150 in price last night. Well, are you gonna go grab it? Should I flip a coin for you? Heads, you go for it. Tails, you go for it at a later date. Alrighty, great. So pick your side. Yeah, I want the hearts. All right, Axel, hearts it is. And so we flip. Congratulations, Axel. No better sign than what the coin is saying for you to do. Don't try to repair your broken old archaic piece of equipment. Come on, it's not even a quest 2. Speaking of quest, let me go tighten this up. Mystic says I'm doing some clothes shopping. Cleared out my closet and got rid of some old clothes. Oh wow. By old clothes, are we talking like 20 years old? I still have some of my college era clothing in my closet, saving them for when I, feel like it again. Axel says, Dorn's suggestion, let it sit unplugged for a while to let it drain and plug it back. Ah, yes, the good old power cycle. Sound advice. But you should still get the Quest Pro before it disappears. Do people buy clothes? Yes, we do. If we have a modicum of decency or we wish to be protected from the elements, clothing is not just optional. Tempting. And then when you realize and come to a decision that you wanted, it's gone. Slip between your fingers. Disappeared. No longer there. Regret. Ah, damn. I should have bought it. Shucks. The headset that is no longer in production is now ever so more difficult to find. Some clothes are way too big now. Glad you're getting in shape, Miss Thing. Some people trade money for clothes. Rude. Howdy, Geb. Didn't expect you this late. I wonder what Emerald sounds like. I always imagine like the Southern accent or something. I don't know. Only Blue can tell. Apparently, Blue heard Emerald's voice. Why is the same track on loop? Work with my limited bandwidth. Yep, I got 2 inches off my waist. Progress. Progress is progress. One common misconception that people have when they target fitness is, I really want to get thin. I believe you need to revise that into, I really want to get healthy, or better yet, in shape. Right? The human body is designed to be something of a more vertical, rectangular sort of deal. If you end up in the more spherical sort of shape, then that's what you call out of shape. Hello, Lindren. Vesper says, well, as a reply to Dan, a virus causing big panic as it caused subtle behavior changes and gradually built symptoms until it killed people. People freaked out and started killing other people to avoid infection. Ran with a group of other women escaped to live in an abandoned supermarket. Otherwise, blurry details. Weird instances such as fishing a guinea pig out of a Okay, wow. That's a strange dream. Now where's my phone? I heard it. Text message me. Oh. I know it was my ISP. It's one thing after another. I actually have yet to go remedy the whole foot salute thing going on. It's still happens. I'm not sure if it's a receiver problem or what. Maybe I should just go buy the extra Neko things. It's the 7-in-1s. Hmm. Well, message sent to seller. I see you're taking the steps forward, Axel. Best of luck. Fishing a guinea pig out of the toilet, says Vesper. Quite the dream. I can't wait for the day to see my community who are active in VR chat enjoy not only full body tracking, but what a more important element, which is face tracking. Nothing brings to life a character more than having organic expressions coming from, well, the neck above. Greetings, Scamp, says Grumpy. Greetings. No FPT until at least next summer. No worries, Axel. You go save up your money. I mean, obviously, the Fluffy Kisser title necessitates the movements of one's body. For full body tracking, I mean. Hello, Nordex. Why, greetings. Pardon my absence yesterday. My internet has not returned, and it's day 2 already. Tomorrow being day 3. And I don't want day 3 to happen. As long as you have face tracking, that's true. It's just the expressions that matters, right? Now, obviously, I'm not going to describe the scenarios that are playing in my head. You be creative in that part. It's more about getting my own place than saving up. But hold on, aren't you in studies right now, Axel? You're in a dorm. So you're gonna dispose of the convenience of being within proximity of your academic institution. Is that it? So Gab's still without internet. I am on mobile data. According to my mathematical calculations, I have around 3 hours worth before my 10 gigabytes disappears. Obviously, we're gonna have a leeway, so I'm gonna target 2 hours of streaming, if that's even possible. I'm just glad I'm able to go online. I dare not want to interrupt my schedule. Damn. That's just sorry. I must go. I might get back on later. Goodbye. Farewell, traveler. It sounds Sure is. Well, sounds like no crazy except crazy extensions. Oh, the only thing that needs extensions here is your sleep, Mitzi. And mine, actually. You see, I'm an overthinker, Chad. Sometimes I'm unable to silence the thoughts in my own head. You think I'm immune to the incessant echoes that is called self doubt? No, I'm not. I just find a way to think my way out of it. It's sort of like a doctor treating himself. The medicine isn't as effective. I know the exact words to hear, the exact words to say, how to deliver it. But when I tell it to myself, it doesn't quite work as agreed. I guess that's why you need friends that serves as echo chambers. Not saying I fall into despair. All I'm saying is I had a hard time sleeping because it's like, when you're sleeping, it's just like that. Damn. When's my internet coming back? What if I miss stream again? what if it's like a 1 week ordeal? Anyway. For the Nova is the base face tracking. The base face tracking is absolutely lackluster. Go for royalty. That's what I used to use. Absolutely fantastic in the expressiveness department. Really lifelike too. In fact, I use royalty as my template for any and all facial customizations that I do. By template, I mean I use them as reference. Like, oh, how did I used to smile again as a Nova Beast? Did I have my lips curling upwards above like the nose line? See? Most face tracking is very subdued. Their smiles are just like this. Right, barely perceivable. Royalty face. That's the thing. If I'm not mistaken, that didn't royalty work. Oh no, it was the Volper. I am 100% sure royalty will come up with something for the Aspil, saying oh, their support for it. They were very eager to have the Avi. In fact, Mecca sent me a photo of royalty in one of the yoga classes, having the Norton Aspil as their avatar, even before it was publicly released for sale. Hey, I've been meaning to try and catch one of your streams. Hi there! Welcome to my stream. I try to keep things nice and cinematic and absolutely chill and down to earth. Pardon the bar, I'm trying to raise money in order to survive. Unfortunately, a necessity for any streamer, any streamer that is not a multimillionaire. I have to make ends meet. But yes, welcome. I know, it's conveniently cropped out in my videos. Fluffy says, I'm sure. Already made 2 textures for it too. Right? It's just a matter of time. And once that face tracking comes out, I'm sure it's gonna be all the rage. Nordic says, give it a few years, Gab. Those voices in your head become whispers. Yes. You should know. You know, anxiety is a terrible thing. It's like a gigantic frozen rock just stuck in your gut, rolling around, painful, doesn't quite go away, manifesting demons that have no clear origin point. I hope you enjoy his streams as much as I do. Thanks. Hi. Totally not a hobo. Hi there.
Almost flew. Almost
Why do I have a particular fondness for this place? Maybe now that I think about it, this looks like the well-off version of when I was homeless. Yeah, I was in a small shed, chat. Like it was a vacant shed that I could sometimes stay in. Yeah. Good times. Tough times, but good times. I met a lot of good people. Poor, but very kind people. Giving what little they have to another fellow, not financially blessed person. But anyway, not to devolve into that topic. Pascal says, I'm not gonna lie. Struggled and still struggle a bunch with it, but thankfully it's gotten better. Wish you could find what works best for you on how to handle your overthinking. I can't. I care about my here's the thing. I draw a very clear divide between people I care for and people I don't. People I don't care about, well, they can drive up to a wall at 300 miles per hour for all I care. because they are chasing trends and whatnot, or trying to prove something stupid to even stupider people. But for people I actually care for, I often replay conversations in my head like, oh gosh, was my wordings proper? Did they misinterpret what I said? There was no smiling in that reply. Are they mad? These silly little things. Alpha says, I love your voice. Never thought of doing voice acting. A comment I come across more often than not. I don't mind. It's just that the effort to start something up is probably not something within my capacity. If I, for example, have a studio or a team, like, hey, Gib, I need you to do this and that. Are you capable of doing this? And here's the amount of money we're gonna give you if you do it. Then I'm game. But if you just blindly say, have you considered voice acting? I mean, yes, but now how? Which direction do I go? Well, I have gotten a invitation. I think sometime the past month for that, but let's just say the topic of hypnosis isn't exactly my jam. Look into my eyes. Yes. Follow your desires, and clearly, perchance, I might give you what you want. Something like that. It's like, I don't know, man. I know so many characters continues alpha. I know you'll be perfect for some of my own. Well, if you have money on the table, I might consider. You lose your bike and now the internet, right? Who knows, gosh, I don't want to end up losing my home. That's why, a bit late, thank you, Fluffy, for keeping the roof above my head. I appreciate it, really. Yes, because Fluffy gave us a tip earlier and I did not thank them immediately and I feel bad now. Nord says, I hope I never say anything stupid that would make Geb upset. The fact that you communicated that to me clearly means that any missteps and whatnot in your words in the future, I will review, and I don't know how to say it in English. I'll now know that it is not your intention there. You're good, Nord. Gosh. I gotta replay old conversations and potential future conversations constantly. Yes. The one thing though, even that I try and practice, no, not actually practices, in conversations, I make it clear if I want out or I want to continue a reaction. I don't just disappear because the worst thing you can do when somebody is talking to you is disappear. Whether you go offline, you not reply at all, or you don't acknowledge them. It's the harshest thing you can do to another person, exchanging words with you prior. Is it your honey? My honey. I need to find some proper honey. It's been a while. I miss my lemon honey teas. Thank you, Gib. Oh, it's okay. Don't worry. Xiaopao says, Sup, Kuya? What are we talking about? Oh, I'm running off on mobile data and I was telling chat how I was just managing with the limited bandwidth that we have. Lemon honey. So you get some lemon tea, right? And then you put like a dollop of honey on it, teaspoon, maybe more. Your words has never been spoken, right? The worst thing you can do to another person is ignore them. That's why when I hear people and I see. I have comments from people that don't like me. And people who've spun tales which are clearly not true. But will I engage them to correct them? No. I simply don't acknowledge your existence. Plain and simple. Troubles me less. It troubles them more. Whenever you see somebody baiting you into a debate or saying slander about you, just ignore it. You know your own truth anyway, right? You really have nothing to prove. And it's only idiots who will believe the same idiot who is saying lies about you. Why try to persuade him in the first place? Are they your crowd? Your friends and the people around you, the people that support you, will know better. Always remember that. Shapo says, yeah, why bother? Don't give them what they want. Remember, the internet is all about chasing clout if it's drama. Luffy says, that's something I really respect you for. Always saying what's on your mind, no sugarcoating, just talking about what you really think of me. I still try my best to be polite, right? Like with the not so handsome Durgara situation. Hey, end of the day, everything worked out for the best, right? You're now rocking the pussy slitter persona. And you're looking absolutely handsome. I saw your pictures over that world. What's it called? Up, where you're by the clouds. I remember going there once. Obviously, intrusive thoughts won, and I jumped off. Chat, by the way, if my stream gets cut abruptly or I start like it means I probably hit my bandwidth cap, and unfortunately that's sayonara for today. And you'll see me again tomorrow. I'm going to make up for lost time and I'll stream again tomorrow, don't worry. I've got to run to class, too bad I can't stay too long. You have a great day, Axel. Thanks for dropping by. I wish you the best in your class. I'm sure you'll do great. Oh, the TTS ain't even talking. Damn. Thank you so much, Hazard. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was actually $10 for the day. Why is the mobile data so expensive and it's not unlimited? Only 5G, and then there's fine print. The fair use policy. We're going to throttle your connection down to 3 Mbps. 10 times, 20 times slower. Just barely enough so you can send Discord messages without any of the images loading up. Unless you wait 10 minutes. Mobile data is such a scam. Yes. Yes, exactly. And Fluffy says, exactly. See, I feel no one else would have told me so quickly as you did. And I really appreciate that. Well, thank you. And yeah, World has a pretty cool looking world. Quite simple though. It's because I've told you immediately because one, I figured you would listen. I see if it's worth telling a person these things, right? Like, hey, your zipper is unzipped. Right? So, in today's online spaces, it's far too common to be around people that will not tell you that you have a fly in your soup and just cheer you on with whatever you're doing. Yeah, you're doing great. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Yeah, you're beautiful. The soup's delicious. Trust me. Yeah, don't worry about it. Nobody's perfect. No soup is perfect. I'm like, you do know there's a fly, right? And it's unhealthy. It's yucky. So yeah. A bee. Oh, did you know there's a bee inside your shirt? You should not wear it probably unless you really want to and enjoy the stinging. Yes. I don't know if I'll be able to join tomorrow because I have football training. Good luck in your games. Fluffy also says, because people get so easily offended, not many people can take actual criticism and listen. That's true. What if I am the bee? I would look for my secret stash of honey. That's actually just corn syrup labeled as honey, and give it to you and like shoot, please go. Buzz somewhere else. Don't sting me. If it was a girl tiger bee, though, that would be a different story. A story I can't say on Twitch. Hmm. Waffle says, I do wish some people in my past told me what was wrong and not find out about it from my friends. I would rather have someone tell me my zipper is unzipped than to realize it's too late when everybody has already seen what was not supposed to be seen. Oh my goodness. Why if it ain't not Homer Simpson? Hi Holmes. It's been a while. What's new on your end? I'm currently bikeless and I'm running on mobile data today because Globe is being such a big bee. We haven't spoken in what, a year? Did you finally get? No, it's not a year. A couple of half a year. Did you finally get your CF motto? Vesper says, I cannot stand cuddling. I spent so much of my life being treated like a toddler, even though I was a kid. A teen? Hell, even a tween? What's a tween? Even when I was a teen. I don't need to be told it'd be okay. I needed people to be blunt and honest with me so I could figure out what to do. Yes. There's nothing wrong with being blunt and honest, as long as it's backed with good intentions, right? A tween is a young teenager. Tween. Also, Holmes, a thought came across me like last week or so, because I was reminiscing on how I started VR chat. I didn't start VR chat last year, January. I started VR chat many more months prior to that. I was in desktop mode, I was telling chat. And I remember going to the black cat with you, and I was a cat. Yeah, I was literally a cat. I think you were a cat too. I don't remember what Abby you were. Mm, yeah. Home says it's been a while, my friend. Has it been a year already? Nah, not yet. I'm still finishing up my car. Brother man. Okay, you're a car. Is it a client's car or like your car? I did VR chat as an Uganda na. Look how far it's brought me, Holmes. To just running around as a desky, as a cat in the black cat, and the going on. Voila. Magnifique. Do you know the way, bro? Don't, no, no, let me, that was intrusive thoughts coming out of my lips. Shh, shh, shh. I'm gonna lose all self dignity and respect. Yes, Drax to the black and green lizard. Hmm. You have Ebola. What's this? Gab has never heard this word. Which one, Nord? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Word, huh? Hmm. Come on, trackers, behave. Don't fly off. Don't fly off. Good. Tween. No, the only tween I know is called motion tweening. Well, I was an animation student, so tween is like you have keyframe A, you have keyframe B, and then tweening is Well, like my program before was Adobe Flash, would create the frames in between and it would like zzz, tweening. But tween, I not in my data bank. Motion tweening. I was thinking of the same thing, right? Homer, anong motor mo ngayon? Nabili mo na. Or would you look at that clean? I cannot see it because I have reduced resolution. There we go. 2160. Look at that. It's set at 4K. Don't fail me, Gabe. 4K is 3840 by 2160, correct? In resolution wise. I know. Look. The government, I have a feeling, has not restarted yet. Your benevolent Demon King has actually run out of treasures. No, dare I say mana. Oh my goodness. Home court is now in the Heroes of Light. Wow. Like Tagalog si Kepos. I didn't know you do that. Yes, I do. Sometimes when the Pinoy's aura is too strong, the chatters are from the spaces which we inhabit. Lumalabas siya. Kaya minsan, magandang gabi, bayan. It's my car. Long story. I'll call you about it. Oh yeah, man. Sure, no problem. When I get my internet back, my ISP said they're gonna send a technician tomorrow afternoon before 5. Don't. That's wishful thinking. And then I'm game. Thank you, Fluffy. Gosh, look at the second in command. We need a title for Fluffy. What would you call the right-hand man of the Demon King? You know, like an overlord, that butler who just does that. Your will is my command, my lord. High resolution, less streaming time. That's why we make it quality time instead. Spend time with me for the next 2 hours. Rack says, teenager doesn't make sense. By definition, it says between age 10 to 14. But a 13-year-old is a teenager. Yeah, it's a teenager. Why are you trying to subdivide it even further when it's unnecessary? Right? Queen. Yes. Is that why Beth declined the Terraria thing? He was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna join these guys. Like, pulls out his pockets. Okay, maybe I'll fast today. It's okay, Beth. You could have just told us. It's so cool because your eyes are moving naturally. Face tracking. You see, Holmes, like most of the other VR chat streamers, I've come to try and get the goal of having a most immersive conversational type of streaming going. Others would just do this in streams, right? Hi, chat. I'm sorry, I'm not downplaying anybody. Like, that's their style, but this is mine. How should I say this? I like it when the streamer isn't just piloting a character, right? They aren't simply pulling strings and letting their marionette dance to their tune. No, I want to be the character. I want to bring it to life, not just puppeteering it, but breathing the very essence in which makes it organic, right? Makes it immersive, like you're actually talking to me, and I'm talking to you. To be or not to be? That is the question. Drax, I think you need to include the other groups of vitamins and minerals in your diet, not just honey. I'm expecting by December. Oh, okay. So it means we're just gonna be playing games until then, Beth. To tiger or not to tiger? Honey is very nutritious. It contains many vitamins. Yes, it's also known for its mummification properties. Oh, no, you don't. It looks like I will be depending on Nord and Fluffy over here. To be or not to be, that is a tutubi. Tutubi is dragonfly. You know what? Let me. Insect avies are so few and far in between in VR chat. I think the only notable one I saw was the ant and the moth. I'm not talking about the kit bashes of like the Nova Beast being a moth. I'm a talk or the Wicker. I'm talking about actual like thorax, exoskeleton and whatnot, antennas and like bug eyes sort of avies. Hmm. I was expecting a surge of that given the release of Silk Song, but I'm not seeing that. See, the Tiger Bee is called a Tiger Bee, but it's more tiger than bee. Insect avatars, Drax. Fun fact about honey, it never expires. You can technically use honey from the. Right? I mean, go ahead, please. Go drink King Tutukhamen's juice. I'll politely pass. I'll have the ones that's in the store shelves. Rook says, wish I had something to talk about. But alas, this time I've got nothing. Just going to enjoy the vibes, I suppose. Rook, you sit your cuttlefish butt over at a comfortable place and you just relax. It's unnecessary to go chat with me all the time. There we go. Me knowing you guys are having a great time is more than enough to make me smile. Hmm. Waffle says, but Drax, are you brave enough to eat old honey? Drax says, I've seen plenty. I guess you just need to move within certain groups to see. To be fair, Drax has a point. I rarely mingle with people outside of, I don't know, the 5 people in my friends list. I I need to expand that. I was in the furry hideout the other day though. But I was in desktop mode and I was actually a tiger bee. I have a screenshot of it. I came to observe what the public was talking about at the time. And well, as usual, there is the person with the computer stats, temperature, system specs, everything on top of their head constantly. We have the person with an open microphone blasting whatever music they deem fit. We have the people going like, "Oh my god," this and that. They're like the drama, the basic bitches and whatnot. And yes, nothing's new. That's the age verified instance. I hopped onto the not verified instance, where all the kids, the toothbrushes and whatnot were. Oh boy. I will send a screenshot. That alone is enough to tell of my experience. There's a reason why I am actually thankful there are age verified instances now to avoid such little shit. There's a difference between chaos and then a kid posing as an adult as an e-boy with piercings on their nipples ores and then trying to slurp me up from behind because I was this size in the Tiger Bee avatar. I promptly left the instance. Anyway. Oh my god. Yes, that was. Yikes. Interest. Beth ate some crystallized old honey. I assume it's so good. Thank you, Fluffy. Oh my god, like for real. Holmes, I'm not joking. After that I went to this palace with popcorns on it. And lo and behold, there was one troll. The rest were like the social climbers, e-boys and e-girls interacting with each other. They're not even watching the movie. They're just talking badly about some other person or group at the time and talking about the troll. It's such a sad exchange that I had to witness, but I was like, that's why you don't see me in public instances. Are you describing our old schoolmates? Oh, our old schoolmates are decent in comparison. I think I have it recorded in OBS, a snippet of the nonsense that was going on. Uh, it's a whole like, oh really, really? But I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. Like, whatever. I was like, what? There is this thing called the block button, miss. Anyhow, there. Short little adventure. Yes. Why did I hop on VR chat that time on desktop? Because I reformatted my computer, right? And I keep on forgetting to set the resolution of my camera back up to 8K. It was at 1080p and I missed some of the details on the good shots I had. So, the moment I recalled, I said, I'm gonna hop on VR chat. I'm gonna set it right now. There's a place and time to do certain things and to do them with the people you know, not strangers. Exactly. Precisely. This is something not a lot of people tend to follow, though. Shucks. I have a feeling I need to turn up my volume a teeny tiny bit. There we go. Is it too crunchy, chat? Is it just right? Please let me know if my voice is overpowering or not. And I increased the gain by around 25%. Clear. No. Lower. Higher. As is. Voice sounds great, Gib. Voice is Thank you for giving me proper feedback. Hmm. Yes. Now, did you create the back of your PC? Thank you for the reminder. That I need to do. When I go install Blender, reinstall my Substance. It's just a click download anyway. And my Unity. I am going to make a backup. So at least I can like rewind to that. Yeah, I did not. Whoops. It's Gucci. Are you still streaming? Streaming? What's streaming? Are you still streaming, Holmes? Oh, the interference. Yes, I'll buy new dongles, 2 pieces. Surströmming. Oh my god. I've been watching videos of those. Those will keep on popping on my feed. So the source, is that how you pronounce it? Surströmming. What's this? I see a bunch of people. 5 dozen of them to be precise. Hi there, Caro. My goodness, how's my good old buddy, old pal, old overwork commissioner doing? Hello, Chad. Yes, the Limzord. Sorry, excuse me, Holmes and everybody. Friendo came here and dropped my hi there, everyone. I see Guy here is just dropping all of you here on my not so expensive looking place. And then gonna go run off and do his own thing. But hello, how are you? Were you entertained by whatever Caro was doing? Was he drawing? Was he playing Vert Chat? No, no, no. What was the most recent game I saw Caro playing? Messing about, drawing silly stuff as always. Ah, of course. Fantastic. Well, I assume you're tired, so thank you for dropping everybody by, and thank you for dropping by. You go do your thingamabobs that is required. Go drink your water, go do your thing, or you can just sit and relax while you continue your work if you're still unfinished. I'm currently running on mobile data because my internet has been out for 2 days, and I'm gonna stream until my bandwidth runs out. Expect me to have a rather abrupt ending to today's live. I will indeed go rest, but I lurk, stare at you from the shadows. Alright. I go to a coin flip just for you. Thank you again. We need to hang out again in VR chat sometime. Iron Isopod. That sounds cool. It's like a tank name. I wanna try it one day, but having to do it underwater. We need to try it one time, Holmes. Of course, we're gonna do it at your house, not my apartment. This is very good mobile data, and it's usual smart. I just have my phone on my charger, and then my phone is tethered. I mean, my PC is tethered to it. Living in the country of this, it's amazing how horrible the neighbor smells during the time of Surströmming. Yes, I'm on pretty often. I always see you on the site. Oh, I have the this app called VRCX, so it's pretty much a more fleshed out version of what you have on the VR chat website, except it's a handy dandy little app. You see when your friends are online, if they log out, what instance they're in, how many people, if their trust rank increases, if they unfriend you, everything is there. It lingers and sticks on the walls, okay. Home says Lamau my house. Okay, but outside at the garden. Definitely. I'm gonna wear a raincoat. Says I should try VR chat. Even though I'm locked to desktop for the foreseeable future. I started out as a deskie too. I've never seen myself doing this when I started playing. I just was watching the Uganda Knuckles memes, and I said, you know what, VR chat seems like a fun place. I was here with Holmes. Holmes Bones is the person in chat right now who you need to thank for me existing right now. Stream wise, Gebus would not be here if he did not pull me over to Geb, come on, try VR chat. It's fun. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. It was that moment. He was also the person who encouraged me to stream. Imagine. I didn't understand a single lick of what he was telling me. Oh, get OBS and stream elements, and all you gotta do is do your browser sources and whatnot. Ah, yeah, sure. He's a great guy, yeah. Holmes Bones here has been my classmate since college, so a long time buddy of mine. Very swell guy, always has his hands full with all sorts of artistic pursuits. He does fantastic work doing hand painted things on. Last I checked, bikes. I think you're now working on a car, right? Your car, as you mentioned, and whatnot. You should do helmets too. Anything he can get his hands on. Very capable guy. Also, one of the nicest fellows I've ever met. Don't give me too much credit. Yeah, sure. You can kiss my assholes. Oh, sorry. Hello, Wolfie Arts. Pardon the language. I can clearly remember when you called me about this new channel. I was so stoked. Right. I'm glad things are doing well. I've met good people. These good people have decided to stay. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And the best of all, it's nice when there's people willing to listen to the many stories one has to say. No matter how little they may be. Hello, Alex Neko. Oh, good, Gab. Thanks. Good evening. It's the morning. It's 2:08 a.m. here, Blue. But yes, wanted to pop in to say hi before me and Zep watch Batman Begins. Got interrupted last night, so we should be doing it tonight. Oh, you guys are doing it tonight, I see. I'll have fun. Go curb Zep's VR chat anxiety, if any. Also, I hope you finally have your headset working. PCVR in particular. Or it says, Game often tells stories that are often more entertaining than a book. Because I tell the condensed version. God. I don't know about you, Nord, but I don't remember the last time. No, I do. It was a couple of years ago. The last book I've actually read was that I don't remember the name, my god. But yes, I actually read a paperback. Forgot about that. Oh my goodness. And here I am planning a Halloween meetup for the community before October ends. Maybe this weekend, so you have a rough expectation of a deadline. Imagine all the fun that we can have. And then all of a sudden, Blue is unable to attend because the headset ain't working. Such a shame. I hope it's not Saturday. Are you not available on this day? I'm thinking maybe Sunday, perchance. October meetup, I shall use the Durgara as my spooky costume. This is the actual POV when you see Gib. I'm not that tall, Holmes. Look, people in my community are all taller than I am. I'm only 6'1". I pale in comparison to the Nords and the Europeans. I may have to pop into VR chat for that. Sadly, I'll be on desktop. As long as... Fine, we give Emerald the exception. As long as Hazard opens mic. Then sure. Go ahead. Dentist plus doing some hobby work IRL. And editing photos. Editing photos. Oops. Sorry about that. Ah. Don't forget to give yourself a little stretch by walking, chat. Yeah. Scales is currently on a 3-stream streak. That's new. I never knew there was such a feature. Suppress me each day, Twitch. And I hope it's a good way. The tall dragon. I don't know, how tall are you, Nord? I'm 185 centimeters. I'm only 5.5. That's fine, 5'6". Vesper is 5'7". Surprisingly, she's pretty tall for a woman. I mean, sure, she's not like Mini Saori, who's 5'10", that gigantes. (182 centimeters). Well, if you wear slippers or something more, then we can have the same height. Ivan says I'm 5'8" or 178 centimeters. Wow, more than respectable. You see, here in the Philippines, verticality is not our forte. More often than not, you're gonna find ladies who are 5'1" or below, and the men, like 5'3", 5'5". There's this thing called Asian size, and that's what they are. I don't know which part of my gene line I inherited, but I surprisingly grew up really tall. Yeah. Homer and I are like big Asians. We're Asians XL. Actually, not even XL. If I have to wear a shirt, for example, I'm buying from Taobao or AliExpress, the shirt size I need to fit me, I'm not, and I'm not like the, there's plus size section, right, for the morbidly obese. Just for the straight body type, I need a 5XL shirt just for it to fit comfortably. If not, it's gonna be like it's gonna be a body fit. Right? It's 4 or 5XL, homes. The Asian size is super small. And then once I saw the American size, like you could fit in a large or like a medium. I was like, what? That's why I have such a hard time buying helmets. Locally, there are lots of nice helmets online for motorcycles, right? And they're cheap, obviously, in comparison to foreign brands. But instead of being able to buy like Gile or the local Arai or HJC helmets, I have to go look at. I went to an expensive store to find one that would fit my head, of like 64 degree. What's a 64 cm is the circumference, and my head shape. And I had to get one from Schubert of all brands. The note it was so expensive, but the only one that fit right. Hmm. Even the Shoei is that how you pronounce it, Holmes? The Japanese brand. It did not fit right. My next is a 3XL. Is it the dual sport helmet, the one with the long chin forward? Isn't LS2 Asian? It is. LS2 has this nice flip top that I wanted, but it was so tight. My problem is my cheekbones are wide, chat. It would always press on the side part of the helmet. So when I wear it, the helmet would like open up like this. And whenever I tried to bring down the top part, it would not align and not close. It sucks. Luffy says I use an LS2 Dragon and excel it fits perfectly. You see, European heads are more oblong, right? Because you have like the very pointy nose. Asian heads are like round and like wider often than they are. No, not really wider. That's weird. But we have like a wide head. Must be where we store all our mathematical genius in. Except I don't have that. It's all just bone. Big head. Message me on Discord. Hello. I have two pings. Two mentions. One from my stream pings. And the other from the food channel. What? Who is tagging me in the food channel while I'm midstream? Okay, I shall check your tag. Ardlope says, oh my god, people keep sending trays of sandwiches for the family and now there's far too many. Literally up to 5 trays of these. Okay, Ard, thank you for that. Yes. How I watch Geb's my goodness, why do I look like I have broken colors? Also, what is that thing on the right? That looks like a cremation pit. I'm looking at Fluffy, and there is a very. I see you're propping up a tent. Interesting to see. My actual homeworld. Somebody should keep Bob company in the dine-in. Hello, Crystal. It's been a while. How are you? What's new? I mean, it's a perfectly normal physiological reaction. I can't stop people from having things happen to them. Access to the dine-in. What do you mean no access to the dine-in? It should be open for everybody. Oh. What? Why? That's. Oh, you mean the drive-through, right? You guys aren't level 20 yet. Oh well. Hmm. Was mentioned. Phone was overcorrecting colors at the fireplace, and that's my fault. A little too late for the excuses, but alright, if you say so. Had a buddy from Cali drive in for the weekend, so I gotta do. So, a lot of good stuff. Lots of good stuff. I'm always up for good stuff, especially if it's food. I may need coffee to find your password in Discord. Please, nobody tell me I want this password. Nobody spoil it. Holmes, let me tell you this. It's literally right there. 1:1 already. And there are people who got it in 10 seconds. And there are some people who, even after 2 weeks, have no idea what to type. Everybody had to go through the same thing. Crystal says, I gave up hopes on the drive-in. I'm around, but I don't chat so often. It's understandable. Such is the case of people with an actual life. You overestimate my brain, says Holmes. I'm so bobo. Bobo translates to I'm an idiot. Well, you're not. I think you simply allocated your neurons to like the artistic side of things, right? So yeah, the smart part is a little understaffed, sure, just like me. But it's so easy, says Nordex. Of course, your comprehension is high, dear sir. Why need a dine-in when we all chill in the drive-thru? Oh no, just spend your levels. Hold on, I need to drink my mango juice. Where is it? There we go. You redeemed the hydrate, chat. I'm gonna go drink. Hold on. Mmm, Mamma mia. Ooh, ice cold, thick mango juice. That really hits the spot. Oh. Is there a difference between the drive-thru and the drive-in? The bit rate, yes. That's why I rob him in the dungeon. Right. There's a channel in the Discord which is called the Dungeon. It's a little RPG texting. It's fun. And you can like rob, swindle, attack each other. Fluffy attempted to go overrule his boss, the Demon King. That didn't turn out quite so well, did it? Do you believe for 1 second I don't have a life? I'm level 20. Oh no, you see, it's either you have a life, you don't have a life, or you're really established in life. I think at your age, Nord, I automatically default you to like being in New Game Plus. Fluffy became the pusher. Oh, there you go ahead. He has a fun name, right? Very fitting of what he is. I am a busy bee. Yes. You see, Crystal not only is pursuing academics, but also tackling commissions such as texture work for others. Last I checked, Crystal was working on Nordex's texture here. Looked pretty good, actually. Kind of reminded me of one of the dragons in Spyro the Dragon, given the purple pastel, the flat. Maybe it's just because it looked flat. Uh, rendition. B, of course, the Spanish tiger bee shows up. The moment I put some honeyed Iberico, it's gonna come about. Now I want some Iberico so bad. I need to try it at least once. All I have is like prosciutto and all the other cheaper hams. Oh, you got it. Congratulations. It did not take you more than 10 minutes. Pat yourself on the back and shake that leg. Now, Holmes, the next step you gotta do is make sure you go to the introductions channel, copy the format, and then fill in the details. Honey Iberico. There's a leg of Iberico ham here locally in the high-end supermarket that I visited. The one, it was in the same building I went to for my dinner that had me stuck in traffic for 2 hours. I was not expecting it to be that expensive. It's like, I'm gonna eat this like one shaving at a time. If ever I would go buy it. My goodness. So expensive. What's this? ZD Chooks. What is with your fantastically elaborate, hard to read names? ZD Chooks is currently on a 3 stream streak. Geb, question. Go ahead. What is thy inquiry? Unfortunately, the Quest Pro does not have individual eye tracking, I believe. So I, it does not work. I think the only headset that can do the cross-eyed one is the Vive Pro Eye, but that's because they have the best eye tracking ever. It's, I believe, the Tobii eye tracking. You see, the Quest Pro ain't the best face tracking wise. It can do everything, but not the best at anything. It's like a 7 out of 10 across the board. I just work around these limitations. It took me a while. It took me a while to understand what the headset is capable of and what it is not. So I'm simply maximizing on what it can do. For example, the Quest Pro only has the tongue out as a binary thing. It's either in or out. Yes. Unlike, for example, the Vive Facial Tracker, which can track the tongue independently in all directions. Then again, the Quest Pro technically can track it too, but Meta disabled it before public release. For whatever reason. I don't think Meta ever expected the Quest Pro to be the VR chat headset. This was more towards the business side of things, right? Like corporate, like meetings and VR and whatnot. But well, my back's getting. So I'm gonna stand up again. How do I look in full view? Hi. Pro has eyebrow tracking. That I'm not sure. Oh, the Vive Pro Eye or the Quest Pro? The Quest Pro does have eyebrow tracking, but it's merged, not individual. So it's eyebrow raiser or eyebrow low or yes, that's it. I know. I wish it could do more, but I hope whatever new headsets are coming out is gonna turn out to be better. Face tracking wise. The Apple Vision Pro actually has the best ever, except it's locked behind the Apple ecosystem. It's not open, like open source, so we can't use it for VR chat. The moment it opens up, I'm gonna grab that headset. That's wishful thinking. Right now, there's Samsung's Project Muhan, there's the Steam Frame, Big Screen Beyond is already released. I don't know about the others. The big screen has to rely on something third party, which is the Babel Tracker. It's. How should I say this? I would rather have a face tracking solution that's already built into the headset. That way I don't need to fiddle with third party programs and calibrations and making things work. One thing I love about the Quest Pro is you put it on and it just works. Doesn't matter if I shift my headset a little left or a little right, up and down. It doesn't have to be perfectly positioned. You can see things clearly, it can track you clearly. With the Babel tracker, you have to perfectly align it. You have to make sure your IR lights are properly illuminating your face and whatnot. And you have to go through this whole calibration process. You cannot have facial hair of any form, or else your tracking is going to be. Yeah. It just works. People take this for granted. The fact that you have hardware, that it ain't the best, but it just works. It just works. I would rather have a car I know can bring me to a destination 10 out of 10 times without driving fast than something that might break down midway. Oh, yeah. Also, Nord, I'm curious. What is a sortie or sorting hat channel? What's that for? I'm looking at general chat right now. Gebos streaming on a Tuesday at this time of year, at this latitude. Still dealing with family things, so I can't watch until Friday. Yes. I feel like you just used 32 hours then. Let's see, with the sleeping troubles. Oh my, oh dear. Gebos community sandwich giveaways. I 100% endorse that. Anyway, where were we? Look at the comment prior to what? Did I just skim through information and not actually see the answer I needed? I don't even remember where the suggestions channel is. I have so many channels. There we go. Oh, a sortie. So for the got it for the light or the dark side, and you get to pick. Okay, okay. Makes sense. Gotcha. Well, hmm. Time to go back to work, says Emerald. See you later, Gabas. I'll see you around, Emerald. Thanks for dropping by, and good luck with your totally not confidential work. It works like a Bethesda game, or actually works. Like, it actually works. Imagine Skyrim, but it doesn't crash. Yes, sure. It doesn't have all the mods that you want. The 8K textures, your super bodacious elven babes with AI voices and whatnot. But you have the basics: expanded weaponry, and then seamless map, and an HD upgrade to like the environment and whatnot. And then it just works. It doesn't crash. Very good information. Not possible. Skyrim script extender. Oh. No, Argonia. Of course, there's the not lusty Argonian maid. I like the design of the Argonians' legs better in in Morrowind better than Oblivion or Skyrim because they were actually Digitrade. Now they're planting grain, which is weird. Don't forget the tasteful DJ mod. I remember having the Nolbos installation. It was the 300 something gig worth of mods in one pack that you could put. And then I was supposed to put like the NPCs have access to something like ChatGPT. So you could talk to them and they would have context on how to react and whatnot. It was amazing. It, having NPCs which dynamically react to you intelligently actually is just put that in an open world RPG and you're set. And there's what 10 versions of Skyrim now. The super legendary limited edition. Yes. Then you realize that Skyrim is on a really dated engine and you can only really do so much at this point. Speaking of which, I wonder how Vesper is doing with her schoolwork. Vesper. I could see people getting lost in such a game, right? The AE broke every mod, so I've heard. Ugh. I'm so tempted. I'm so tempted to lie down. No, 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 no. Goodness, we actually made it to an hour and a half, chat. How much bandwidth I have left? Total data output 4.1 gig. Thank you for tracking that for me. Yes. I kind of want to get back to modding, but I'm guessing half the mods of. You know what's ironic, Drax? I bought Skyrim the day it came out, and it was in a physical DVD. Was it a DVD? Yeah, it was a DVD. From the store. It was a store called Data Blitz, and I got the case. I've never finished the game. So for what? How many years now? 10 years. I've always told myself I wanna get back to it. I was gonna mod it. I spend the whole day like downloading mods from Nexus Mods, compiling it, making sure the order is in a working condition, troubleshoot it one by one. By the time I start, I feel the fatigue. I park it again for a few years. And then just come back to it. You know, Geb, if I could, I would add data on your card. You actually can. It's because if my internet is still not yet back tomorrow, I have to subscribe to another day. And this bar keeps things afloat. You don't have to, but since you asked the question, of course, letting you know. I spend more time modding the game than playing it. You and me both, pal. I see. I played it a lot. I put over 300 plus mods, right? Excuse me. Ragnar the Red. What was the line, that infamous line by Merida? Was it Meridia? Where you have to touch the funny ball that sends you into the sky, the beacon. I'm not sure if you know what I'm talking about, but yes, that. No, I don't have enough bandwidth to alt tab and see who's online on VR chat. I mean, in the VR chat. Category of Twitch. So sad. Oh. I'm looking at general. And Holmes Bones is at it. Ah, yes. Okay. It seems fluffy, like the Fluffy Kisser moniker on Axel. I mean, I can always put it back, you know. Let's put it there. Axel. Fluffy. Godler. There we go. Your wish is my command because Fluffy donated to today's stream. Use leverage. Yes. The power of money. And propping a tent with his blanket in that picture. Whoa, whoa, whoa. If it isn't Axiom Atum. Hi there. Welcome. How are you? Before you go vanish and play like Elite Dangerous or Risk of Rain 2. Or yapping, okay, yes. Nord, thank you so much. My goodness, will you look at that? I am guaranteed another day of streaming just in case I don't have net. IB is heavy. Ah, yes. I think everybody knows that cursed object. All I heard was funny ball. Something about another one has been chosen by the beacon or something. I don't remember. It's been so long. Should I remember? So many years ago. Thanks for renaming Axel. You're welcome. I bet Axel's having such a gander with the nickname. I'm gonna check general and how it is. Was this your doing, Geb? I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, sorry, Axel, but also not sorry. There we go. Yes, I am Onyx, definitely not Unix. Yes. As you can see, I like poking fun with my members of the community on Discord. I may not have the biggest Discord, but it was never really about how many people you could fit in your server. It was about the quality of that's within. Good evening, Gab. How are you today? I'm doing okay. I'm running off mobile data. I have used half my bandwidth cap since I started stream, so I can only persist for less than an hour longer, unfortunately. But people have been helping me afford more data by nudging this funny blue bar ever so closer towards the middle. Thank you, team. 160 members on Discord and counting. a lot. I know, DG, but what can we do? Hopefully tomorrow will be day 3 and the final day of me not having internet. Well, fiber. I'm using my phone right now. So, please, they're no, they're not Axiom. Oh my goodness, that's true exactly. Axiom belittling the people on the server so much. Goodness. It's actually nice how the people that stay there in the server aren't just raving fans, like how most streamers have their community set up. Uh, it's, I feel like the people inhabiting the server are people that have earned their place there. Yes, that simple, silly little test of the password has deterred so many. Hello, I'm a raving fan. Sure. I think you need to go sit down so you don't stress yourself so much breathing, Lux. Good evening. Hello, how are you? Wait, no, good morning. That's also fun. How do I know if I got the password right? Oh, you'll know. Chill hours. I was meant to breathe, yes. My goodness, I'm starting to yawnicate. My stamina is only as much as the bandwidth I have been given by my mobile network. Took me a while to guess the server password. At least you got in right, Pascal. Wow. It's not even 2 p.m. here and you're making me yawn already. Good night, Rock. It's nearly 5 a.m., says Lux. He's making me yawn. What can I do? Sleepiness seems to be contagious. It's like the gold, once the golden gates opening up and your face gets blasted by the blinding light of the Gebus community, and you say, "Damn, I was such an idiot. That was the password. It was right under my nose all along." Hmm. I enjoy being in the services studio. Way easier for me to catch your lies, and I don't know how to start a conversation with people. You start it by trying. To this day, I don't know the password. You simply forgot what it was. Oh, the sleepiness is not disappearing. Maybe. There we go. Like this. Totally not lying down, Chad. That's actually good advice in a way, right? All you gotta do is start talking to people. No, don't make me yawn. Are you sleepy too? Ain't it nice? You like my blue bucket, Chad? Hello. How do I look? Ah. Need to be very keen and have big attention to details to see the hint. The password, it's right there. It's at the bottom, Chad. Why am I sideways, Asilax? Your streamer has decided to opt for a more comfortable semi-laying position. Probably bad for his back if he stays this way too long, but at least it alleviates the discomfort of simply sitting upright, as I was earlier. The blue bucket of secrets. You see, you gotta be creative when you don't have a toilet, chat. Of course, I'm just joking. How do I even look? I guess I. It's like lying down. Nope, nope, totally not. There is more. 15 minutes, chat, and I gotta go. I am trying to save a little bit of bandwidth so I can. I don't know. Do I nap or do I VR chat for a little bit? There is this world I really want to visit. I'm definitely gonna go to it after stream. I. This is a bucket. Dear God, there is more. No! Read it in Half Life 1 scientist voices. I do, bucket. Let me know. Yeah, what are you gonna do with that extra bandwidth? Um, most no. I'm after stream. I'm going to visit a world, stay there for a while, and then top off to save myself 1 gigabyte for whatever. Who's online anyway? Nobody. You heard it in your head too. Yes. Hello, Gordon. Why do we all have to wear these ridiculous ties? Okay, also has just subscribed. Why, thank you so much. I appreciate your thrill of support. You see, that bucket chat is not for what you think it's used for. It's actually meant to collect the coins that you guys throw towards me. After stream, I go count how many I get, and then, aha, I have enough for lunch. Like Gordon, a rope. We can use it to help. Oh my goodness, I remember the scientist that was in the elevator shaft that was not able to hang on. But yeah, thank you, Suke. I wonder how many people called you Sock XO. Sook. Gep. Can I make a write an apology about my mishap? I still feel bad about your foolishness. I don't even remember what it was. I mean, did you think call Nordex old or something? I mean, that's probably unforgivable, though. I cannot guarantee an apology will work. If that's the case, so many. I see. Dragon never forgets. What the heck is a draong? Draong never forgets. It sounds like a name for like a feral dragon living out in the land of the barbarians. Drau. Plague Raven, my goodness, I need to wear a face mask when I'm around you then. Has decided to go toss 100 bitties my way. Thank you so much. Drau. That's what I'm gonna name you for now. Drau. We have some new people chatting. Hello, Jade. Yes, I am looking at the Discord. And I can see Bob and Crystal Tide, aka Draung, in the drive thru. Crystal is working on Draung's texture. Draung. I finally got the password. Congratulations, Ivan. Was it difficult to find? Draung has wares if you have coin. Draung. It sounds so primal and dumb at the same time. Yes, it's a legendary beast named the Draung. Oh my god. Draung. Oh my god. Yes, Nord, what's up? Ramba, hello. Oh no. Oh no. So anyway, hello. I was just looking at Discord, don't mind me. I was going to do it myself, but I do not have the levels. That's okay. Save it for your honey, Drax. Hello, I'm back, says Dan. Only for a little bit, though. I need to leave once again. What have I missed? You missed the Draung. Yes. Aside from that, nothing much. Bob the Draung. I'm so sorry. It's stuck in my head. I'm being so dumb right now. Old and wise as a log. Precisely. He's as old as the trees. And as wise as one too. A fossilized log in a peat bog. So what's up, Vesp? You done with your schoolwork? Hmm. I'm having way too much fun. Yep, for today, I see. Alrighty. Oh wait, I don't think. I wonder how big the world is. Let's see. You see, the world I wanted to explore was from this artist called Apathy. So, looking at my worlds for, let's see. Quiet Breath, Apathy. It was a new one. Echo Blue before I go. What was it called? Old bicycle parking lot behind the school. I'll check it out after. How big is it? It's 215 MB. Oh, I remember this. 611. Hmm. Was that a misspelling of dragon? Yes. Yes, it was. I had to skedaddle for a bit since some testing program hated that I didn't have a camera. Oh. Ugh. So while you were doing the tests, they had to watch you do it? I mean, I get the whole anti cheating policy that it may enforce, but. Gab, I forgot to ask. How has your day been so far, besides the internet issues? Well, aside from that, pretty okay. I had some shawarma for dinner, thankfully. This place called Turks. Um, you can order online. It's $1 for like a wrap. That's pretty good. It's not much, but I usually eat 3 pieces of it per like meal. Outside of that, I'm pretty alright. Shawarma can be so delicious. Absolutely. Keep track of your data, Gab. I am at 5.1, no, 5.2 gig right now. Thank you, OBS. Oh my goodness, we're already almost at our 2 hour mark. How quickly time flies. I like it when the shawarma is very generous with their fillings, especially the onions part. And there is this it's the yogurt garlic sauce, which makes things fantastic. Then here they have this cheesy sauce. I'm not sure what concoction it is in particular, but it just works. Do you like chicken or beef shawarma? From the place I get it from, the beef. Their chicken. Wait, do they even have chicken? The last time I tried chicken wasn't exactly one that left a good impression at me. It was kind of dry. It was flaky. The beef, though, it's nice and carved and juicy, just the right amount of fat and meat. Fantastic experience. Oh, wish I had more. Really wish I had more. It can definitely depend where you get it from in terms of quality. Yes, definitely. Raum is not amused. your stickers, your stickers actually fits the name of Draum. Pascal, you should definitely get your funny numbered hydration. Always get your drinks. Wow, those flickering fire really fly. Oh, you mean my cat? No, it's actually there. I'm just joking, not the village. Yeah. It's an actual fire. Oh wow, I'm so far away from. There we go. Well, if it isn't Linz. Hi, Linz. Also, why am I. What the? Hello, how are you? It's been a while. We all miss you, you know. What's going on your side of the world? You finally back home? Like from the outskirts to the city? I remember you mentioning you went to some sort of festival, unless I'm mistaken. Do you play games with anyone off stream, like with followers or just with friends? With both, actually. For example, Beth here. You may think he's just some guy who comes to my stream and tips a lot. No, well, he's actually a friend. We've been playing a whole lot of we were playing Battlefield recently. We were playing New World. We played Dark Tide, and yes, yes, and we even played like the Astartes mod and Space Marine. Fluffy as well, Axel. The others. I played with Doran, I played with Blue Scales. It's not something I can do really often because of, well, I have to be in many places and I'm only one person. Even Litza here. We were playing some good old For Honor. We need to go back to dueling again. Yes. Of course, you gotta know who said the code, and it has to be somebody in the community, Ivan. It's either I said it or somebody in the Discord. But the number one person I play games with at the moment is Vesper. I recently introduced her to actual proper PC gaming a few months ago, and she's been having a blast. She's been playing with Beth and I in Helldivers 2, also in the New World that I mentioned earlier, and Dark Tide, and now we're trying Terraria with the Calamity mod on, and a bunch of other stuff. We're having fun. There's a part of me that's cool. Battlefield looks very nice as that. I enjoyed the beta. I'm thinking of maybe getting it eventually. For Honor was nice, but it was a little difficult to match again. Of course, it's you gotta. If anything, it fuels you to do better in For Honor. That's why, before each match, during the short stint of us playing For Honor, me, Litz, Howler, would always duel first, like a couple of dozen rounds to warm up. I've also gotten into playing Vampire Survivors and Risk Away too. Ah, roguelikes, yes. I got For Honor trauma from you two ganging up on me. You were playing the Nobushi. What could I do against that? Oh, right. When I was playing the no, what was that again? I keep on forgetting his name. I call him the Sword Master. The Kensei. When I was playing the Kensei, that's when I could fight your Nobushi. I happened to accidentally buy BO6. Well, you have a lot of players you can squad up with, Nord. There's Fluffy, there's Axel, there's Beth, there's Doran. I tried to try again. So when are we gonna start playing games again, Let's? I should get back to playing games with friends. It's been a while. Go ahead. Oh, man. I am approaching 6 gigabytes. I have less than, well, I have 40% left. I probably already consumed 10% of it just trying to get here. So, I may have to go soon, chat. Unfortunately. I think I broke Substance Paint. What did you do, Krista? How can you break it? Your smart materials all borked up and whatnot. I tried importing a first smart. I knew it was smart materials. Okay. Can't you just delete it? I just got back home today, but it'll still be a bit busy. Alright. There's Discord will just be there for the next 1,000 years anyway, so anytime you're ready. I was hoping you could join Vesper and I in some Terraria. It's really fun, difficult, and super lightweight. Never done it before and I wanted to try. Oh. Lots of games we could play. Goodness me. So little time left. Use the last 40% wisely, right? Look at me. I look like a sleaze. Like a slob. I'm just lying down while streaming. Mm, yeah, I'm going to go eat. You should go eat, Vess. I look like on camera 3. Starbound's a little old and lacking in content compared to Terraria. I did play it before though. Oh my god. So tempted to just lie down and sleep. Can't watch videos anyway. It's 3 a.m. The text can arrive at 14 hours from now. 15. Samsung VRC. Professional 3D model with years of experience. I can turn your imagination into reality, and you have been banned. No, sir, Scammeroo. How far have you gone in Terraria? Before Vesper and I went to bed last night, we managed to beat Skeletron. That's it. Um, Eye of Cthulhu, the Brain of Cthulhu, and then Skeletron, and that's it. We haven't even explored the dungeons yet, which is probably something we'll be doing later. Wow, what? Grumpy. Max just subscribed for 3 months in a row. Max, for the support. 3 months. And no so quiet at that too. Let's see. Max has sent a total of 8 messages. Chronic lurker, they say, but thank you for your content. You and your community put me at ease, so thank you. This was last month on the 17th. Since stumbling across you and your content on Twitter, I was very much pulled in by your cinematic and creative approach to things. I must say it's wonderful, and sometimes the smallest tweaks and or changes can make the difference. But yes, hello. Comfy, lurky little guy. I'm glad you're enjoying your time, though. That's what matters the most to me. Dan says, I'm considering resetting because my base is a mess, but I'll use my character I have progress on, and I don't want to spend the time fixing it up with lots of enemies around me. I see. It's always nice to start over when you're starting over with somebody else. You see, Vesper and I's playthrough has it's this mod called Mr. Plague's Authentic Races and the Apache's classes. So you don't just start out as a human. You can be anything. This Wendigo looking guy, which is like a skull beast. You can be a tabaxi. You can be like this furry thing, that scroll thing, this fox thing, a golem. You can be undead. You can be a slime, a crystal person. All sorts of dragons in all their respective elements and colors. It's actually really fun. And they all have like unique traits. It's not simply a cosmetic thing. Yes, there is, I think, a slime thing there. They start out as color pink. Oh, seems mid-scene crystal is in 3. A rook says, I shouldn't be trusted with base building. One look at my satisfactory base should tell you every conveyor belts everywhere and whatnot, yes. Dan says it sounds like such a cool mod. I'm sad I'm just restricted to Xbox for now in the near future. I plan to eventually switch to PC though. Best of luck when you do. Modding games is just a fun thing to enjoy when it actually works. Oh, gaming stuff. I heard slimy crystal thing and tuned in from it. Go fix your substance painter first, Krista. Go ahead. I'm a spaghetti chef in any building game, says Ro. What's a spaghetti chef? Go spaghetti. Thanks for wishing me luck. I hope you have luck with the cheap internet. Thanks. So far, so good. I hope it stays that way. I might even actually be able to make quota. I said I'd be here for another 15 minutes, but lo and behold, I am persisting. He's the summoner of the spaghetti monster. I see. Crystal says the importing process just isn't working. It's wanting to generate thumbnails and get stuck from there. Think it's a Substance Painter version thing? Pulling guesses. Nonsensical built-in building layouts everywhere. Ah, hmm. I miss that one friend of mine who's he's very autistic when it comes to when it comes to building. He would make stained glass like reliefs and whatnot, and it's like what? He'd make cathedrals and everything. That's all he did build. Hmm. Oh my goodness. The headset is still available, says Fluffy. It's time to buy. What's this? Yawn. Big ol' yawn. Not as fierce as the yawn of Trau. I will now have to go, says Dan. I again wish you luck with any endeavors you encounter and hope you have a great day right back at you, buddy. See you next time. Rook says I got a touch of the tism, but didn't get any of the organizational skills some people have. Ah, yes. Look at those pearly whites. Important. Just because you're a dragon or a lizard doesn't mean you shouldn't brush your teeth like how normal people do. More especially since if you consume meat predominantly, it needs more maintenance. Wait, I didn't say that. You mean Axel? Sure, Axel. Is that the rain I'm hearing? A downpour at this hour. That's not good. It means my mobile internet's going to be much more crappier. I hope that's not the case. Drao. That's so dumb. It's just stuck in my head. What's this? Litsa says, my touch of the Tessa makes me imagine sad anime scenes in depressing. That's my depresso buddy right there. I'm in fact going to visit one of the worlds by apathy after stream. I think there is one I haven't checked out yet. Hmm, damn, it just doesn't feel right exploring it without you though. Huh. Because it might sink in. And sinking in is the nice part. Sink in is the one that's not. Draung is not abused. So Nord will have to like refer to himself in the third person from now. Draung thinks that this idea is foolish. Draung is most pleased by this accomplishment that we have gotten. Draung desires the food that you are currently putting in your mouth. Draung is curious as to what this coffee is. Damn, there's hair in my mouth. Vesper says, my touch of the tism is the FNAF lore. You let me get started and I'll explain the whole lore. Yes, she's a big FNAF dork, chat. Ba, 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 da, ba, 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 da, ba, da. I am interested. Oh my goodness, there we go. Being started by Litz. Litz says, man, I really want to get into world hopping again. Finally, said, booty full world. Alright, you let me know, buddy. Not on stream. You are being spared a whole lot of trouble. Go on my chair. A bit. What? There we go. Excuse me. Almost 2.5 hours. Wow, we're actually gonna make quota. I've consumed 6.2 gigabytes of data. Just 9 more minutes and then we should be good. Nice. Nick Dragon says, I swear every time I turn around, your dragon gets even. Your design becomes even more cute. Cute? Me. I. Thanks. Raul. Cute. Most of the people who has seen my new design actually not most, sorry, some comments read aloud as I miss the old Sona. It was cuter. I can see why. I very much look much like a cat or a fox than compared to whatever I am now. They don't know what a lizard is, so well. Did I say cute? I mean ferociously adorable. Ferociously adorable, yes. I adore lizards anyways. Oh yeah, you sure do. Axiom Atom is starting Blender. And speaking of the Deville, what? What do you mean what? 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 You know, Vesper, they say lizards like head scritches like dogs do. They do. Maybe the wild ones you find out there. I mean, I've heard monkeys like bananas, but they're not the same for every human walking around, right? Beans, Vesper's leopard gecko, like scritches, but I will not scritch Grim, though he's not a dog. Please, I enjoy other forms of touch. Scritches, though. Maybe when my back's itchy or something, sure. Crystal says, man, I'd kill for a good banana right now. I mean, ain't that what Flake's for? He can go buy you a banana in the market. Remember, kids, Scritch the brightly colored lizard. They want attention, hence why they're so colorful. Clearly, not because I want to attract money or something. You know, I'm like poisonous. Fluffy and Crystal. Can you drop your tail like a real lizard when you're in danger? Unfortunately, I do not have that function. No. I have tried clenching it as tight as I could out of curiosity, but no, it would not drop. That sounds strange when I say it. Give me some weird questions, Chad. Just try to clench as tight as you can. And it just doesn't cut. Oh, wrong imagery, right? That is why you need a diet high in fiber and you need to hydrate all the time, Chad. So it cuts off whenever you clench. So, in other words, you gotta watch out for snakes and other predators. You know what? To be fair, I've had my fair share of bites, either out of microaggression or curiosity towards my tail, the tip in particular. Is it because it's bright blue? Does this look normal to you, Chad? I just grab the stick and break it. Mm-mm-mm. Oh my god. You just dig it out, Beth, right? Let's us currently on a three stream streak. Wow! Hey, congratulations on the three stream streak, which is surprisingly a tongue twister. It's in my face half the time, so why wouldn't I? I want to make comments and expound on that topic, but that might not be TOS. Cooked lizard tail, yes, a common thing you see skewered in RPGs, which heals you for an ample amount of health. Yes. Grasp it firmly. It looks crunchy. It's not mine. Don't try with mine. Go chew on another lizard's tail. It looks like a noodle for slurping. You have probably some rather thick noodles in your place. Looks radioactive. Why are we talking about how I taste again? I have a bit. I have a video about that. Me talking about that in particular, and it's my tail too. Do let's not. Draung is not amused with the topic. Yes. Your tail looks like a sour gummy worm. You know what? That's correct. With all like the sour powder and everything. Mm, Built it for. God, this camera's so finicky. That's a rather large gummy worm. Yes. Literally nothing. This is VR chat. Oh, I see you don't have phantom taste yet. You know, if I put my mind into it, if I imagine salt being shaken into the back of my tongue, I can actually taste it. And me being rather familiar with how the gummy worms from the typical candy store that measures it by the 100 grams is, it's kind of hard not to imagine how that tastes. Especially the Haribo gummy bears. How many grams of protein? From where? To be honest, I imagine it could be spearmint or blue raspberry. Probably that, Nick. Oh, the stores of the 1 pound of sugar-free gummy bears off of Amazon. The Haribo gummies. Who needs laxatives when you have a delicious alternative, right? Wait, did someone on the other side just ask how much protein you had? You gotta be specific. I have not spent as much time in VR focusing on senses than anything. At most, I'm familiar with the scent of cigarette smoke in VR chat since my grandma smoked a lot when I was small. Smoking is bad, chat. I wonder if they still make those. Oh, I know what you're talking about. And it's super thick, too. Weird. When the first few months I was in VR chat, I was actually like trying to train my phantom sense. Like, okay, okay, come on, you can feel it, and then until like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird. It works. And then there's phantom warmth, which I am most familiar with, and then there's smell, and well, to an extent, taste. It's pretty much just you recalling actual things you've experienced IRL and kind of overlaying it with the visual and audio data that you're seeing before you. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of averse to certain things. When like, you better be nice and minty fresh, or like right out of the shower or something. And Phantom paid surprisingly no. The axiom is yeah that knows that. Me, I don't have that. I've started watching K drama this weekend. Safe to say it was most interesting. Like one last K drama, closest thing I've watched is I still haven't finished Squid Game season 2. Have you seen the tomato incident? What's that? There, I didn't. Where's my wrist thing? Oh, it's gone. So touch is definitely not something I'm familiarized with. I'm not a very touchy person. Very valid because Vesper here doesn't have much experiences, memories of the sensations to pull from in order to emulate Phantom Touch in game. Me, I've got a rather wide portfolio of sensations that I can reference from, and yes. My goodness, chat, we have hit 2 hours and a half. Thank you so much for joining me on streaming today. Our topic is starting to go towards the weird side of things. As much as I want to extend, I just don't want my stream to abruptly end because I ran out of bandwidth. So I have to go. But let's read Litz's message first. It's about the female chef that gets transported back in time and got captured by the tyrant king of the dynasty. But she didn't believe him and kept hitting him and asking if he hit his. That's funny. Okay. As always, Gab, it's been a pleasure to be here and watch you and interact. I will be here again tomorrow, if not the day after. Which means I will stream Thursday and then Saturday instead of Wednesday and Friday if I need rest. Let's see how it is. But for now, chat, I need to bid you all adieu. So, good morning, afternoon, good evening, and good night, chat. See you again soon. Hopefully with proper internet. Thank you all who supported me today. And don't worry if you're unable to, alright? It's okay. We all have our own challenges that we have to overcome as well. So, Nord, Lance, Ivan, Vesper, Nick, Mitzi, Mad, Fluffy, and Axel, and everybody else, Axiom. I'll see you around. Thanks for being here. Crystal too. How could I forget? I hope you get your substance painter sorted out. But yes, I'm hovering dangerously close to me running out of bandwidth. Much love, much care. And always remember that one secret that I shared with you, and I'm gonna remind you again, that I'm never gonna remind you about again.